behind the line. And they come now to the start of the 5,000-metre final with Milenik of Austria on the inside, and beside him Bulti of Ethiopia, and Coghlan lets them go, and immediately into the lead goes young Padilla, but Coghlan taking up the rear, not interested in getting involved, and this could be difficult. 8:33 is Krochmeliuk. Krochmeliuk has gone into the lead, and this is significant. Perhaps Krochmeliuk is going to make the pace and sacrifice himself on behalf of his two colleagues, Abramov and Dmitriev. And Coghlan is staying back, staying well out of the lead. 8:33, Anatoly Krochmeliuk from the bespectacled Dmitry Dmitriev of the Soviet Union. And 10 metres covering the entire 15, and Coghlan on the curve in an uncomfortable running position now. His stride pattern being dictated by the men in front of him and the men behind him and the man outside him. Bulti is second. A very, very smooth, fast run. Last 800 metres by this young man from the Soviet Union, Dmitry Dmitriev. As now Vessinghage takes up the challenge. The Kenyan can't do it, and Coghlan is going ahead of Vessinghage. Coghlan is not going to let the Soviet man steal a march on him. There is one lap to go, and it is becoming increasingly difficult to remain cool and objective about the outcome of this race. Dmitriev has a lead of 4 metres from Coghlan. Coghlan is chasing him. Vessinghage doesn't seem to have it, so Coghlan is chasing Dmitriev, and it looks as though the race is between these two. Coghlan looks extremely comfortable. Dmitriev has done everything over the last 800 metres. Coghlan is coming up on his shoulder. He looks behind him. He checks where Vessinghage is, the man he fears most. He's on the shoulder of Dmitriev in the fine position as Marty Vainio launches a counter-assault. But Coghlan and Dmitriev, and the race is between the two. Dmitriev is holding the lead. Coghlan is waiting. Coghlan signals he's going to go. He looks at him. He is supremely confident. Eamonn Coghlan is going to do what he has been threatening to do all his life. He is going to win the World Championship, as with total contempt he runs away from the entire field. And Coghlan is the world champion. A superb, confident run by a great athlete.
You looked at his fist going around the last bend. What did you say to yourself?
It's mine. Just like that. I realised that I was feeling good. I knew he had been running hard. I just looked at his face, more or less, just to see that sheer expression of perhaps agony, because I knew he hadn't got the speed that I was about to unleash. And when I went by him, that's all it was, just to say to myself, it's mine. And I just went up that straightaway, and I think I made one gesture like this up the straightaway, and I looked up and said, this is great. And every stride, I just enjoyed every bit of it right to that finish line. And when I won the race, it seemed like it came to me much, much easier than I had always figured it was going to be. And when I walked out towards the rostrum, and they called my name, Eamonn Coghlan, World Championship, 5,000 metres, Ireland. And I looked around, and I remember thinking, is this for real? You know, it's just like another race. And when the tricolour began to be hoisted and the national anthem began to be played, I just looked at the flag being hoisted there, and I said, this is great. And again, all I thought of was Jerry Farnan saying, you are the world champion, I always knew you were.
Will still look good now to see it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great looking back, really. Not that I look back a lot. Only when I come on your show.
that year, Eamonn, 83, did you feel good going into that World Championship year?
I felt well prepared, because the year before, 82, Jumbo Elliott died, Jerry Farnan died, and the two coaches who had instilled so much belief in me were no longer around. I was injured. I was out for a full year with stress fractures, Achilles tendon problems, and I decided when I was going to come back and get myself right, instead of doing 100 miles a week and get injured after 6 or 7 weeks, I was going to try and get 20 weeks of 80 miles a week without any pressure, without any interruptions, and consistency of training. That all went really well for me, and then I went for the sub 350 indoor mile, and I achieved it. Part 2 of the plan was the World Championships in Helsinki. And even about 2 weeks before the World Championships, I ran a race in London against Steve Scott, against Coe, versus me, NBC television. You know, it was Coe versus Coghlan and blah, blah. And I ended up finishing 4th in that race. And I kind of said to myself, here we go again, World Championships 2 weeks, what'll I do? So I went to visit Jerry Farnan's grave for the first time since he had passed away. And there on the epitaph was written, don't quit when you're beaten. Fight back to an even more glorious victory. not only in competition but also in life. And I plucked the grass from the grave and I put it into my wallet and I said, now, what would Jerry have me do? He'd have me go and jog the grass. There's Jerry, photograph of Jerry. Jog the grass for 2 weeks and forget about training hard. Let your body recover and the energy come back into you. So when I went to Helsinki, I decided I was going to absorb it all. I was going to enjoy the opening ceremony. I was going to enjoy looking at Carl Lewis and Mary Decker, the flags going up for their nationalities, and Greta Weitz. And I said, these are my friends. If they can win, I can win. I'm used to winning on the same circuit as them. So I visualised everything. And going into the final that day, I just said to myself, if Thomas Wessinghage thinks he's going to win this race, let him think it. But he's going to finish second as far as I'm concerned. And even the night before the final, when my agent from IMG at the time says, hey, Coghlan, when are you going to make your move tomorrow? I pointed down to the 110-metre mark and I said, Brad, right from there, do you not think it's a bit too late? And I says, no. I screwed up in 76, I screwed up in 80, I ain't going to do it tomorrow night. So the next night, as I said, ran the race, let Dmitry Dmitriev take off. I sat behind Wessinghage all the way. I realised there were a lap and a half to go, Wessinghage wasn't going to move at all. So I decided to gradually haul in Dmitriev. And with 300 metres to go, when I caught him, I knew I could have blown him away then, but I decided, no, wait for that one move only. So when I decided to go by him and I looked at him, it was like, I got it. And off I went. And it was the first time really in my life everything came together. Physically, I was well prepared. Mentally, I was well prepared. I thought of nothing negative whatsoever. Everything was just positive, positive, positive. And when I did go like that with 50 metres to go in total disbelief, all of a sudden it was like, why did I train so hard? I'm getting this so easy. But it was just a wonderful feeling of personal satisfaction that what was told to me as a child at 12 years of age that I could achieve in the future, if I put my head down to it and prepared properly, you could deliver. Sure. And that was the time I delivered.
And encapsulated in these photos of the homecoming, when you came back to Dublin. It's a lovely image.
Well, I know when I showed these in the house last night, what you asked me to bring in, Des, my daughter Suzanne, who's now many years older than that, and a corporate banker here in Dublin, says, Dad, you can't show those photographs, I'll be embarrassed in work. But happy memories. We only had 2 children at the time, Suzanne and Eamonn. There's young Eamonn and Yvonne, and gosh, she hasn't changed a bit after all these years. Sure, she hasn't.
Lovely image to have, isn't it? It's a great image.
There was so much effort went into it from the family, my brothers and sisters, my mother and father, Jerry Farnan, the boys in Metro, and particularly Yvonne, who endured, you know, that journey of giving up her career to pursue me around the world and raise the kids while I was out training. That was their reward and everybody else's reward for believing that I could do it someday. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. OK, well, look, that's it for part 1. But join us again because there's lots more to come with Eamonn as we go through the archives. We'll be back looking at the indoor career after the break. They were lovely,